This is the book of Luke, chapter 8 and verse 17. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither is there anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who I'm learning this 100% true from. And much respect to the brothers laboring worldwide to wake up the elect of the children of Israel. So, I seen this yesterday. And when I woke up this morning, I seen Apostle Tahar went into it a little bit. And this is a story of history about how the so-called white man who is Esau Edom hates you, man. So we're going to watch a little bit of this video, and then we're going to filter through the scriptures a little bit. It's edifying.
It was called the Red Summer of 1919, named for the blood that ran through America's cities during months of racial unrest. African-American soldiers had returned home from the Great War, World War I, to a country still teeming with discrimination. And in their quest for civil rights, tensions between blacks and whites reached a tipping point. Deadly race riots broke out in over 24 cities, but one rural town, Elaine, Arkansas, would become the epicenter for the bloodshed. The violence there, lynch mobs, torture, indiscriminate murder, was so horrific it would go down in history not as a race riot, but as the Elaine Massacre.
Right? So, you know, Esau tries to hide all his dirt, man. But we in the time that Yahweh Shai is revealing who this wicked man is. Matter of fact, right? We in the time that everything is being made manifest. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first. The Israelites had to lose their heritage, had to discontinue from their heritage before all these things come to pass, right? It says, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, right? Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called power or that is worship, so that he, as power, sitteth in the temple of power, showing himself that he is power. So we in the time, man, that this man is seeing who is Esau Edom is being revealed. All right?
This is history. Dark history. During World War I, more than 350,000 African-American soldiers enlisted to serve. But while they fought for democracy...
And that's the reason why they won World War I, man. Ultimately, those so-called black people who are the Israelites according to the Bible, that's the reason why they won.
Abroad, their own country, America, was still not willing to see them as equal.
White supremacy was very mainstream at this time in the United States. Basically, a lot of African Americans were seeking to obtain their full rights and equality in the United States. And violence was often used by...
And you niggas still want to be equal, man. The Most High God says you are above, man. You ain't supposed to be trying to be equal to this damn base, man. Right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 14 and verse 2. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power, and Yahweh hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth. All right?
Mobs of whites.
Tensions reached a boiling point in the summer of 1919. Race riots broke out in dozens of cities across the country. But in the rural South, something even more menacing was taking form. There, slavery existed in all but name. In a system called sharecropping, farmers provided landowners with labor for a share of crops produced. But the system was rigged. Sharecroppers were often kept in perpetual debt.
One black sharecropper raised $500 worth of cotton, and his landlord told him, yeah, but you used $697 worth of supplies, so you owe me money.
Everyone who has any power at this point is working to make sure they keep African American laborers tied to the land.
For roughly 50 years, the system went unchecked. In the fall of 1918.
Listen, man, roughly 50 years the system went unchecked. This is Ezekiel chapter 35 and verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus I will make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from him that passeth out, and him that returneth. All right?
A black man from Arkansas had had enough. Robert Hill had decided to form a union to represent sharecroppers. It was a dangerous decision, and one that would set off a chain of events involving mass murder, torture, and a landmark Supreme Court ruling. But first, he would need to organize.
In his message, Hill was pretty simple and direct. Why is it that we cannot have fair payment for the honest and hard work we do?
Despite the inherent risk involved with challenging whites, World War I veterans and other black sharecroppers.
Why not? Because this man has a perpetual hatred for you, Jay. When the hell you gonna wise the hell up, man? When you gonna understand that this devil hates your guts, man? What is it gonna take, right? This is Ecclesiastes, or Sirach, at the Apocrypha, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemies, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, right? They humbling themselves right now. The Most High God has put the spirit on them to be docile, man. But we coming back into these times, man. What you watching right now in Elaine, Arkansas, is the same thing that's gonna happen around this whole country pretty soon, man. These race riots gonna pop off, man. Because that's the spirit of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, getting ready to rouse these devils back up, man. Right? Verse 11. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. Right?
Became card-carrying members of the Progressive Farmers and Household Union of America.
He believed that by paying dues, these members could have the services of lawyers and sue plantation owners for cotton that had been stolen from them and false numbers that had been placed in the plantation stores' books.
Hey, never trust thine enemy.
On the night of September 30th, 1919, Union members gathered in Elaine to discuss their legal plan.
This is in Phillips County. It's basically just a crossroads.
Listen, man, this happened 100 years ago, man. 100 years ago. Understand that, man. Some of y'all got grandparents or great-grandparents who knew about this, man. Understand that.
At this time, a road, a few houses, a railroad siding, no streetlights. There's also a one-room wooden church, and that's where the Union met. Expecting that they might have trouble, the Union posted a guard of about 6 men. They had shotguns and rifles. The meeting's taking place. While they're having this discussion, a car rolls up the road.
2 white men were in the car.
By one account, one of the white men in the car said, "You all get away from there."
2 Edomites. There's no such thing as white. They're red.
And shortly thereafter, a shot was fired.
Though it remains unclear who fired first, a barrage of gunfire broke out. One of the white men was killed almost instantly. The rumor of a black uprising spread in a matter of hours.
Look, man, Esau, just like the brothers went into last night, Esau tries to control the narrative. So when it's time for him to try and come down on you, he justifies himself, man. Just like he's saying these so-called black identity extremists. The same thing he just did. They came up to them. Man, you ain't had to come nowhere near that damn church, man. Right? With your damn wicked ass wanted to come up there and start shit. And you got your ass blasted the hell away. And now you want to control the narrative, saying it was a great uprising, but it was all your ass causing the bullshit. But Esau loves to control the narrative, man. Right?
The idea of a sharecropper rebellion conveniently played into the hands of landowners who did not want their sharecropping practices scrutinized. They did all they could, as quickly as they could, to sound alarms that black farmers were out for white blood.
The story gets magnified that the town is under attack, that blacks are killing people in the streets, that there is a revolution afoot.
The sharecroppers quickly formed self-defense groups, expecting repercussions over the death of a white man.
You see that, man? This is the book of Ecclesiastes, Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 16. These 6 things doeth the Lord Yahweh hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look. They was proud as hell. They still prideful. A lying tongue. Then them damn sharecroppers lie and say the narrative that so-called sharecroppers were raising up to out for so-called white blood, man. Right? It says a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, and heart that deviseth wicked imagination, feet that swift to run into mischief. Then wasn't that a wicked imagination? Those damn plantations, steel plantation, so-called farm owners devise, man.
But they could not have predicted just how severe the response would be. The following morning, under the watchful eye of Sheriff Frank Kitchens and his deputies, posses of white men were sent to find, detain, and kill the offenders.
When you have an out-of-control mob just being told there's a Negro insurrection going on, that mob's being very indiscriminate in its violence.
Listen, man. This is Proverbs 6 and 19. A false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren, right? It's Esau all day, man.
You see houses being attacked, black-owned homes being ransacked.
The black school was burnt. Notable families were killed.
Black women and children have to go literally hide out in the woods because many of these people are indiscriminately shooting at African American women and their children.
Black veterans and other African Americans took up arms in self-defense.
This no doubt just feeds into the mob fervor. The fact that, oh, they're daring to shoot back at us. This must really be an insurrection.
One historian has identified more than 20 different killing sites where African Americans were being killed.
There are stories that mob members were taking souvenirs, such as ears or fingers from the bodies of fallen Africans.
Man, you see this damn devil, man? Taking feet and ears, man. I did not know that, man. Fucking devils, man. Boy. This is Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
Americans.
One of the leading black families of the county, they weren't even in the town. They had just received a brother back from the French front. They are pulled from a train, put in the back of a car, and they are stabbed, shot, and their mutilated bodies are left on the side of the road.
Within 2 days, 500 U.S. troops were sent to quell the supposed black uprising.
They don't find any blacks killing or shooting down the streets. In fact, Colonel Jinks reports that the city is filled with hundreds and hundreds of white men with guns. Many of the individuals who were hiding in the thickets were former soldiers who had just gotten back from the war. And when they see the army troops come, they rush out, believing that the army troops are there to assist them. The army believes that these people are rushing toward them to attack, and they're cut down by machine gun fire.
Listen, man, never trust thine enemy. You know they ran out with their hands up, man. Right? Never trust your enemy.
Although the exact number will never be known, A recent estimate suggests 237 black men, women, and children were killed. There was an immediate demand for justice, but not for the black lives lost. 5 white men were also killed in the fighting. Hundreds of African Americans were rounded up and put in jail, and when the jail was full, they detained the rest in a schoolhouse.
While they are detained, there is torture going on.
The goal? To elicit false confessions of a black uprising.
They whipped the men, whipped them for long periods of time. They stuffed formaldehyde up their noses, and they stripped them naked and shocked them with electrical charges. They did this until they confessed to the conspiracy.
Robert Hill escaped to Kansas, but his peers back in Arkansas were not as lucky. 122 indictments were issued, and trials quickly started.
The men were brought into the court in chains. They weren't allowed to consult with their defense attorney. The defense attorney rarely interjected.
Man. This is the book of Nahum, chapter 1 and verse 3. Yahweh is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. Yahweh hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. So Yahweh Shai is not going to acquit you, Esau. You're going to get back what you put out, man. Right? It's going to happen, man. This is Galatians, Salakia, chapter 6, and verse 7. Be not deceived, Yahweh is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So you want to sow this damn wickedness, Esau, man, you're going to get this back double, man. It's going to happen to you, man. With that, Lord willing, it's been edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Much respect to the brothers laboring in this truth worldwide to wake up the elect of the children of Israel. Till the next time I say, Shalom. DTA and a Bible ball going down, Esau.